Well, this is gonna be fun. Trigger warning for sexual assault. I've avoided making this video for a while now because I had no idea what to say, but I knew that I needed to say something. It's a huge issue, and now that it is hit so close to home, I think it would be irresponsible if I didn't talk about it. I know that a lot of you who watch this channel are young women, and you are especially susceptible to sexual violence. And that's bad, okay? Though not all the victims are women, as we now know from the host of the 2017 Tonys. So that's pretty. So this goes for all victims. It's okay if you don't feel like you're strong enough to speak up. It's okay to just want to be done with that part of your life and not talk about it. It requires a tremendous amount of bravery, as cliche as that may sound, to stand up and say something. Aside from the possibility of receiving backlash, it also forces you to relive that terrible, terrible moment of your life, whether it happened yesterday or 5 years ago. I know a friend of a friend who recently made a video revealing that she and another student had been sexually harassed by their much older male director, and this had an effect. Because of that video, companies who have been hiring that man, they know now. If they didn't know before, they know now not to hire him. And if they did know before, they know now that the backlash they'll receive and the lawsuits they may be liable for is not worth hiring him, because that's the thing. Now that we are in a purge, so to speak, these rich cockroaches who have abided by rapists and predators know that they can't continue to do so without facing hell. And that is the only way they will change their practices, is if it becomes too much of a financial risk for them. Everybody knew about Harvey Weinstein, and they did nothing because, reminder, capitalists are the vampiric scourge of the earth, and the sooner they eradicate it, the sooner we can stop living in fear. Anyway, if you feel like you can't speak out, if your position would be compromised by it, or if you just don't want to deal with the hell of exposing it all, you don't have to. But if you can, then I would highly encourage you to, because we are in a moment now where we have a real opportunity to drive out the predators. People are actually listening to victims' voices, and I don't know how long that's going to last. And men, this is your issue too. If sexual violence makes you uncomfortable, good. It should. You should be as sickened by it as the victims are. It's important that you talk to your male peers about this, not confrontationally, but as one friend to another. Establish that sexual assault is never the victim's fault, even if they were drunk, even if they were in a relationship with the other person, even if they didn't say no to it. Establish that some behavior is not okay, and you can step over the line without even meaning to, without even realizing. And just so you think I'm not preaching to you from my high horse, I think I am probably in that group of people who have stepped over the line without meaning or realizing it. We also have to recognize that harassment can range, well, there's the worst thing on one end, and on the other end, it's just making someone very uncomfortable through certain kinds of comments, and those are both valid forms of abuse, and both not okay. We have this imaginary idea that most sexual assaults are done by some stranger in an alley, but in reality, it's done by people we know, people who have direct power over us. Producers, directors, even castmates. People who don't even think of themselves as sexual predators. It's important that we have this discussion and develop a more nuanced understanding, because that's the only way we're going to move forward and make sure we stop people from being abused. Alright, I'll be back Friday for a much happier video, although I think I'll have to say something about the absolute class warfare that is being waged against us by those in political and economic power as of this past week. Anyway, next time, musicals, yay!